Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thanks for joining Spirit of Cricket with Ratan. Today we have got a very special guest and we'll talk about cricket and of course there are a lot of stories we'll be talking about. So this is the channel that we have started recently and we are talking with various cricketers to start with from Bangladesh. We are doing from some international cricketers and we have spoken to Bangladesh Cricket Supporters Association, and today we'll be talking to another special guest. I'll just introduce you after a few moments, but before that, let me talk about this channel. This channel is all about spirit of cricket and the cricket, how cricket brought people together from across the globe during this crisis, and what is the best things coming out of this COVID crisis, and how as a cricket community we can fight COVID and go out and play the sports that we always love. Please subscribe this channel. We have Facebook and YouTube channel. Please subscribe it, like it, so that you will not miss anything out of it in future. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my special guest today, who is just I'm bringing him in. So bring her in. So it is Kelly Barlow. Eddie Barlow, as a lot of people, that Eddie Barlow was one of our very favorite cricket coach. He was the national coach for Bangladesh for some times. And we'll be talking about Eddie. We'll be talking about Bangladesh cricket, his vision. We'll be talking about memory that Kelly has with Bangladesh cricket. We'll talk a lot about everything. So, Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ratan. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, brilliant, Kelly. I was not expecting that I will be doing anything like that, but I've just started this, by accident. I was doing with one of the session with one of my friend Nashid Rahman, who's doing a TV3 Bangla, and also another person, Mr. Mukul, and so they inspired me to do something to talk, and it is so easy, and they taught me in fact how to do it, so that I thought I'll talk to the people that I know about cricket, the sports we love, and here we are. Kelly, talk
Yes.
about very little bit about Bangladesh, your memories.
Where to begin, really? It came completely out of the blue, Eddie's appointment to Bangladesh. So I had to quickly get out some books to have a look and see what it was all about. I did actually know where Bangladesh was, which was a good start. And when we got there, I was absolutely blown away by it. The colours, the people, and everything. It was a really good start for both of us to be in Bangladesh.
All right, okay. I know that it was you had a very good memories of Bangladesh, and I can remember the first day Eddie came to Bangladesh to meet board president, then Mr. Sabe Chaudhry. I was in the airport to receive him, and he had a foot infection, and that I was there to bring him to the secretariat so that we had a meeting, and then he stayed, I think, overnight, and I think straight away gone back. And can you tell me about what happened in his foot while he was
Well, I
coming to
think
Bangladesh?
when he arrived in Bangladesh, he'd been messing around on the farm at home and he'd put an angle grinder through his calf, which was not nice to say the least. And we had to whip him to the doctor who bandaged him up. And I think a couple of days later, he flew out to Bangladesh and it suppurated, it got infected. And he had to go to hospital and I had to meet him from the airport in a wheelchair. And I thought afterwards, oh my goodness, isn't this just a portent of things to come? Because when we eventually left Bangladesh, he left in a wheelchair as well. So
Yeah,
it
that's
was a
right,
bit
and I can
bizarre.
remember it was. Yeah, that's right. So that all right. So that Eddie gone back, and of course we all know Eddie, that he got a passion for Bangladesh cricket. He has a vision, and a lot of coaches and players that we talk, they feel him as a father figure as well. So talk through about Eddie's. characteristics. So that, of course, we know Eddie when he was in Bangladesh, and you spend so much of time. And talk through about Eddie a little bit.
Well, he was always a very ebullient character, and his cup was always half full. So he was always going forward with everything that he did, and treated everything as a challenge. And he actually liked people. He liked cricketers. He liked everybody. And he always wanted to inspire people to do the best they possibly could. Sometimes people didn't like to listen. Sometimes they did, but that was his ethos in life, was to get the best out of everybody and to make them the best they could possibly be. And I think had he been given the chance in Bangladesh, he would have certainly achieved that if it hadn't been for the stroke.
Yeah, definitely. I think he has done so much, and I can remember. Of course, I was still playing and doing coaching here and there. And Eddie is the person who I think initiated talking to the board president to appoint number of coaches, and he was very fond of coaches. That he wanted to make sure that there is a good foundation for the coaches so that they can produce the players. And for the first time, there was a number of coaches was appointed that time.
I think he felt that when he was appointed to the job, he was actually appointed, I think, as director of cricket. And he felt it was his job to make sure that Bangladesh people were in the positions that they should be in cricket. So while he was there as a coach as well, he wanted to make sure that as many Bangladeshis as possible fulfilled those posts in the future. And that's what he set out to do, not to have a constant stream of foreign coaches in the country, but to make sure that Bangladesh had their own coaches.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was the started. And and this is why there are so many coaches are doing some good work. And I can remember I met Eddie very frequently, and I was not part of that number of coaches that joined. And Eddie asked me to, why don't you apply for one of the positions? And I said, Eddie, I was not ready. I'm not ready that time. So when I was ready, I applied. Um, and and Eddie come up with a book as well, a coaching manual. And can you talk through about that? Why he felt that there need to be a coaching manual for Bangladesh coaches?
Well, he didn't only come up with the, and he'd actually done a small manual a long time ago in South Africa, which he had translated into Afrikaans as well as English. And he felt that there should be a coaching manual that was in Bengali so that everybody could understand it. They didn't have to, if they didn't speak English very well, they didn't have to struggle through an English manual, when if he could have it translated into Bengali, they would be able to understand it so much better. And that's what he did. And I have, which I think I told you, I've got a copy of it, which I'll send to you.
Yeah, really, yeah. You did mention, and that one day you traveled to the post office, but unfortunately it was closed. So I'm looking forward. I think I saw that copy, but I didn't have with me. So it will be
Okay.
lovely to have that one. So talk through about your because you are not only Eddie's wife, you are a massive fan of Bangladesh cricket. All right, and
Of
from my
course.
from my personal experience, I could see you wherever Bangladesh goes, you follow, you put your comments, and of course when they're in England, I think you hardly missed any matches.
Well, they're very nice to me in Bangladesh. No, I love I like anybody that has a passion for something. And when we first went to Bangladesh, that's what I saw, the Bangladeshi passion for everything. And it's just so lovely to be able to contribute to that in some way, to egg them on and to say, look, come on, do your best. And I just love watching them because they are so passionate about the game. And you look at some teams and you feel almost as if it's an obligation to be walking out to the field that day. Oh, goodness, I've got to play cricket. Whereas the Bangladeshis don't. They go out and they give it their all. And I just love that.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you traveled with Eddie with the training ground, in the matches. You met players, and a lot of you are not only met players. You become their one of the very good friend, and still now there are a lot of players and the administrators are in touch with you. Um, Tell me about the Bangladesh players, the players that you have met.
The players in
Uh,
Eddie's day.
Eddie's Day, and
Oh, they were the most tremendous crowd. Absolutely amazing. Um, Bulbul was and please forgive me if I can't remember what their whole proper name is because that's what I knew them as. So Aminul Islam Bulbul, he was Eddie's very first captain, a great character. Um, he and Eddie just really gelled, so it was really nice to see them together. Eventually, DJ Namaraman took over, but Bulbul was his first captain. And then you had the character, what I call the characters of the team. Pilot, the wicket keeper. Oh, he was tremendous. Gullah, amazing. Akram, Shumon, Rockon, Moni. Oh goodness! And then there was Bidut, just lovely.
yes,
Monju,
yeah.
Shanto. Oh, and then poor Rafiq. I felt so sorry for him one
Oh,
day.
as we are talking, we are just sliding some of the pictures. That Eddie with somebody is carrying. Can you tell me
Well,
about this young boy?
that is who we referred to as Little Farouk. When we first went to Bangladesh, Eddie insisted on going to the markets to have a look and see what it was like. And when we got to the door, we were inundated by loads of children. And they kept saying, I carry you, I carry you. And I thought, well, that'll be a bit difficult with Eddie because he weighs a ton. But then we realized that they wanted to carry our produce that we were getting in the market.
Yeah.
So after a couple of days, Eddie decided, no, we're going to have just one carry boy. So we had Farouk, and he was absolutely marvelous. And he just seemed to know when we were going to be at the market because he always appeared.
All right.
One day he wasn't. He obviously wasn't very well, and this little girl appeared, and she said, "Madam, Farouk not here today. I carry you today."
All right.
So it was lovely. But we normally had Farouk, and a really sad part when we had to leave Bangladesh. Eddie and I wanted to buy little Farouk a really nice present. And we said to big Farouk, ask him what he wants, because he didn't speak any English. And he came back and he said, I'd like a pair of shoes. And I said to Eddie, a pair of shoes? He's going to grow out of those. And I turned to big Farouk and I said, are you sure he'll grow out of them? And he said, ah, yes, madam, but then he will be able to sell them.
Yeah. So as you can see there are some pictures here.
DJ,
You can see
yes,
the
I can't
DJ.
remember where that was taken, actually.
It's one of the
Oh,
ground, and
wonderful. Oh, that was
yeah,
in Nottingham.
that
Oh,
was in
so
Nottingham.
lovely to see him.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Ashraful the other day, and of course, Eddie was his best coach, according to him, and for obvious reason.
Oh,
Can you
BKSP.
remember this picture?
BKSP, yes. And that's
BKSP.
on the right hand side is Lisa,
Yeah,
and on the left hand side, Putul.
Futsal. Oh, brilliant! You can remember both of them. That's right. Hopefully they are watching it. Hopefully they are watching it.
I remember that particularly because that was at BKSP, and
Yes.
we stayed in the one of the residences there. And Eddie looked
Mm.
out the first morning we were there, and he saw those roses, and he thought he'd like to pick some for me. So he
Uh-huh.
started. He got, I think Joy was the cook there, and
Hmm.
he got Joy to give him a knife, and he went out and he started cutting some. And the next minute, this gardener rushed up and he said, the flowers don't belong to BKSP.
Yeah. Uh,
That
we
was the
we
end of my roses.
yeah, 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 yeah. We will be talking more about BKSP and Bangladesh cricket. But I just wanted to go back to Eddie's cricketing career, and I have some pictures here, so which will be showing and sharing with you. And if you can explain about some of the background of those pictures and why it
I'll
was taken
try.
and what was you can try. But Eddie had a great cricketing career as well, and he was, I think it was 1962. He was one of the six top South African cricketer was named.
Yes.
Yeah, uh, and he scored a double hundred in Test cricket. So he knew what to do in the Test arena, and with his experience and passion. And uh, let's see if I can bring those pictures or not. So this is, I think,
Oh, that must have
uh,
been when we were leaving Bangladesh with Sabah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
is
So
that
it was.
DJ in the background?
It looked like him, yes.
My goodness.
And on the background, I think you can see Tanjivas and Saad, probably. You know
Oh,
Saad?
yes. Yes, Sard. Lovely.
Uh, do you know Saad is not well?
I do. I do.
Yeah,
I actually emailed Bobby and I said, look, please pass on my absolute love for him. I just hope it's not too awful.
yeah, yeah. Yes, a fantastic personal.
Yeah.
Uh, and
And
of
he
course, you
wore the
can
most
remember this.
amazing Punjabis.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He is one of the another Punjabi wearer. So this is
Yeah.
one of your picture.
Yeah.
What was
Brilliant.
where it is taken? It is again BKSP, probably.
That's either out at BKSP or that water park quite close to it.
Hmm.
But that's
Okay.
lovely Lisa, who looked after me when I was last in Bangladesh. And I
Okay.
just gave her my camera and I said, just take pictures, which is what she did. Brilliant.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So and there are more pictures are there. So we will be talking about those pictures. And here is one. I think it was in.
It's not often that men make me look short, but Shabir and Courtney certainly did. That was taken at
I think it was in Arundel Castle, probably.
Arundel. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
yeah,
They
yeah.
they, they played against, I think, Sussex, or maybe Duke of Norfolk level. Yeah, I think before the
Yes,
Champions Trophy.
yes. I actually can't. I can't remember who they did play against, but
And
that
then
was.
it was a rain affected game, and we were there.
And it was
Uh,
very cold. I remember.
very cold as well. Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it was a good day. And then I went there with our charities. A lot of children from London
That's
to
right.
to
Yes.
to
Yeah.
to meet them, and it was it was a great day to meet up a lot of players.
Yeah.
Talk through about AD in England. So when he moved to England, or he didn't move to England at all.
Well, he first came to the UK in the early '60s, where he played Lancashire League cricket,
Hmm.
and he played for Accrington, if my memory serves me right.
Hmm.
And they made a great fuss in those days because it was still in the days of apartheid in South Africa, and they would have big signs in the newspaper saying, instead of Accrington versus somewhere else, it would say Barlow versus Griffiths, who happened to be a West Indian. So they were always trying to make something out of that, which was a bit silly, really, but that's what they did. And then latterly, or later on, he went to Derbyshire, where I think they thought a tornado had hit them, quite frankly. They were sort of still playing cricket as they were sort of in the 1950s, and he wanted to shake everything up and make them much fitter and much more competitive. And I think he certainly succeeded in doing that. And when he went back after he had the stroke, they were all so pleased to see him. It was just lovely seeing them all get together again after such a long time. And he was there for 3 seasons, and then he went back to South Africa. And in 1990, he came back and coached Gloucestershire, which was where I met him.
Yeah, right, brilliant. Talk through about while Eddie was in Bangladesh. Of course, in Bangladesh, the facility wise that time also it was still challenging. All right, there was not much of facility in late 90s. Now there are a lot of good facilities across. And there was for coaches like Eddie or for international coaches, it always would have been a frustration. Um, Not only for the because he was looking for the juniors and the A team and all of them. So what was he was talking to you while he was at home, or is there anything he was sharing with you?
Yes, lots of things. I think possibly what frustrated Eddie the most was there were facilities there. I mean, Bangladesh suffers from having monsoon weather. So when other places would be out playing, that wasn't an option available to Bangladesh. But what Bangladesh did have was huge old gymnasiums, which you could have put down nets really easily, but somehow nobody wanted to do that. And we went round the country to quite a few places to have a look and see these things. And Eddie said, look, you've got these perfect places here for indoor nets. Why doesn't somebody do something about it? But
Yeah.
it didn't seem to happen. And that, I think, would have been a good thing for Bangladesh cricket, because it would have kept them playing all year round in very good conditions.
Yeah. So this is one of the things. Now I think recently all the divisions will have their own indoor centers, and there are outdoor training facilities as well. And you could see the Mirpur is now center of excellence. There are very nice facilities in Mirpur. I think Eddie would have loved all those facilities now. Uh, uh, if he was like, we'll come back and talk about more. And I just wanted to bring some pictures of Eddie, and if you can talk through about some of
Yes,
them.
that one is a picture of Eddie with a guy called Ratan. He was very recently, I think, director of cricket in South Africa, certainly some top position. But he was just, Eddie had a nickname for him. He called him, oh, wait a minute, I have to remember now, Vonkeland, which means sparkling, because Eddie said everywhere he went, he just sparkled. His eyes sparkled and everything. So that's what he was always called. And you always knew if Eddie really liked you, because he would either be really hard on you or he'd give you some sort of nickname. Sometimes not frightfully complimentary, or they didn't think it was, but you always knew then that you were sort of fairly well in with Eddie if you got a nickname, or
Yeah.
he rode you hard because he realized that you had some worth and it was worth pursuing.
Yeah. So there are more pictures coming up, and let's see if we have another one coming next to talk through. So this is
Right. Well, that again must have been the Free State, because you've got Corrie van Sale on the left, and the guy on the right hand side, who you may not recognize now, is Mickey Arthur.
all right.
So he was still playing for the Free State then, but I first met Mickey when Eddie was coaching Griqualand West, because Mickey transferred over to Griquas, and that's how I first met Mickey. So that's those three, but that must have been at Free State because Corrie's there.
Yeah, there are more is coming up, so that let's see if we can talk to the next one.
Right. That's probably
This
one that
one,
shouldn't be shown, because I think that's an advertisement for Coca-Cola.
whatever. You see that those days still there was a marketing opportunity. All right.
Absolutely.
And I think it was either deliberately or not deliberately. I don't know. It looked like
I
the
think it was
drinking.
deliberate.
It
Eddie,
was deliberate. All right.
although I say this with my hand in front of my mouth, Eddie wasn't fond of fizzy drinks, from the cheapest lemonade to the most expensive champagne. Give him a glass of red wine anytime.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see that the other pictures are coming up. This is one of the follow through.
Gosh, now I have
And is it Dicky bar on
absolutely.
the back?
It's what?
Who is on the
Is
back?
that
That
Dicky?
no, no, not
No, I
Dicky.
don't.
No,
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 I
no,
don't think so.
no, no, no.
That might. That looks about 1970s.
Yeah, this could
No,
be.
Ratan, I'm sorry, I don't
No,
know.
no, that's all right. That's all
I
right.
don't know where that
You
is.
don't have to remember everything. The next one, if we can. Oh, this is me and you. I don't know why. I
I
think it's
wonder
in
who that
Arundel.
is. That was at Arundel.
That was definitely at Arundel
Gosh, wasn't
Castle.
it cold that day?
Yeah, it was cool. And during
Oh,
this is the Bangladesh versus I think
yes.
Duke of
Yeah,
Norfolk game.
that was their first game, I think, wasn't it?
Past the warm-up game. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. And and this is when you came to
Ah,
support us
yes,
at
that's right.
Hackney Marsh
Asthma.
Test.
Yes, that was lovely.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
that is the most amazing place, Hackney Marshes.
yeah.
It's
And
so
I
huge. And for you
yeah,
to get all those cricket teams there playing all together for
yeah,
that record was just incredible.
yeah. And thanks for coming down all the way.
Oh,
And
heaven's sake. It was only a pleasure, Roshan. I thoroughly enjoyed the day. And I got a t-shirt as well.
you got a T-shirt as well. That was
Yes.
brilliant. Yeah.
Oh,
So
lovely.
yeah, yeah. This is
Oh,
another one. I think one of the ground
yes.
probably.
Now that's Edgbaston.
That's on Edgbaston. Yeah,
Yes.
Bangladesh
Yeah.
versus who was
Yes.
playing?
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
And did I
I
have my
think it was
Bangladesh
India.
shirt on?
Was it
Yeah, have
India?
I got a Bangladesh shirt on there? I think so.
Yeah, there's a packet of the shirt. Yeah.
Ah,
So
yes, yes.
yeah.
I think Mr. Johns gave me that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So those are the that and this is another ground. I don't this is probably Cardiff.
That's Cardiff. Yes, yes, that's definitely Cardiff.
That's Cardiff. I think that was the famous victory against New Zealand, probably.
Very good.
Perhaps.
Yes.
Perhaps
No,
is it that
excellent. No,
victory
they
that
played really, really well.
Saqib and Mahmudullah had a huge partnership,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and this was one of the incredible betting display in any level I could see,
Yes.
and nobody imagined because we lost some quick wickets, and the way they build it up, effortless.
Yeah.
It was brilliant to enjoy, brilliant to watch, and we enjoyed
Yeah.
thoroughly. And
But it very often happens, Roshan, doesn't it? When you think the openers haven't performed, and then somebody steps up to the plate, and you think, "Oh wow, this is going to be really good."
yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
There are messages are coming so that Bangladesh president from Bangladesh Cricket Supporters Association sent a message that you could see on the screen, that let me see what it says here. We Bangladesh Cricket Support Associations are very much grateful for Mr. Eddie Barlow for his contribution to Bangladesh cricket. Yes, of course.
Oh, that's
Um,
lovely.
yeah, it's not only Bangladesh fans, administrators, everybody, and Eddie is in their heart, and I wish he could have stayed a bit longer. And
You and me both, Ratan.
yeah, so and we could have a stronger foundation, though he has started a foundation, and it could have been much better um, uh, foundation. So we all miss, and I personally miss Eddie very much, because as I said, that though I was not part of Bangladesh team, not part of the coaching staff with him, but I always used to speak to him, because
Yeah.
I am I am a person who always wanted to learn, and if I find something from you, I can steal you knowledge. your knowledge. So that is what
That's
me.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think stealing knowledge is not a crime. What do you think about? What do you think?
I think knowledge is everything. If you know nothing, then why do you exist? The more you know, the better person you become. Uh, I agree entirely, and I think that was one of Eddie's mantras, that he wanted to impart as much knowledge about cricket from the past, uh, to let the players of his day and future know what it was all about. And I think it is actually a great shame nowadays that when the game of cricket ends, the players tend to get in their cars and go home. There's none of this, oh, let's go into the dressing room and have a beer and talk over the game, and wasn't it lovely to see so and so of the past. That seems not to happen now, which to my mind is a great shame.
Yes, I think the cricket require more of socialization. That the cricket is a different game. That we love all sports. That
Mm.
cricket is a social game. That you can make friends, more friends,
And
and
I think also, with cricket is a game where you learn as a child to play as part of a team, but you also have to learn to play as an individual. And I can't think of any other game that does that. You can hide in a football match if you're not terribly good that day. Whereas if you're out at the crease, you're there, mate. And, that guy is coming down at you, that bowler is coming down at you at 90 miles an hour, and you've got to be able to cope with it. So I
yeah,
think that's one of the most important things that cricket does teach you, is that
yeah,
how to be part of a team, but also to play not for yourself, but on your own,
yeah,
and do the best you can.
yeah. That's right. Brilliant. The cricket is an individual game, as you said, that when you're at the ground, you are on your own. Whatever skill you perform, even you're taking a catch, even
Yes.
you all right, you are
Yep.
bowling, all right, you are wicket keeping, you are batting, you are on
Yep.
your own. You are the person who is making the decision,
Yes.
all right.
Yep.
But you will be only successful if everybody helps you and you helps others.
Yes.
So it's
No.
about it's unique, and
It's the perfect game, Ratan.
yeah, of course, it's a perfect game, definitely. And we are so lucky to be part of this game, and I'm lucky to be played and still be involved with the sports, and always trying to pass those knowledge that I got from various people, including Eddie Barlow. Whatever I learn, I wanted to make sure that we share.
Yeah.
Sharing is, if
Yes.
I share, if I pass my knowledge, I will gain my knowledge. So this is what I believe always.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. No, don't be selfish.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. um uh, just talk through about one of the moment that, if you think that, what is the best moment Eddie had in Bangladesh? I'll come back to you, if you can remember.
Ratan, that's a terrible question. There were so many.
So
Um,
I know.
I think I would have to say probably the best moment for Eddie was one that sadly he wasn't part of, and that was when Bangladesh got test status. Um, that to him would have been everything. Sorry.
No, 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 no. Yeah, I can imagine the emotion behind it, Eddie, and Kelly. And I was there in the when Eddie arrived at the stadium. Again, he had stroke, and he went back and he came back on the wheelchair,
Yeah.
and he was sitting on the players area. You can remember, all
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You were there. I was there as well, and Eddie was so emotional, and you
Yeah.
can imagine. And you're right. And he worked so hard to make sure that Bangladesh got the state status, and they do everything possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Bangladesh do.
really, Ratan, Bangladesh had to jump through hoops for that test status. And I can always remember Eddie saying to Graham Dowling, who was one of the invigilator people that came, you may remember, that came round along with Andy Pycroft to have a
Yeah,
look to see whether Bangladesh was worthy of test status. And I can remember Eddie turning to Graham and saying, hey, when you lot went for test status, you didn't have to jump through hoops like this. And when Eddie was saying when he'd first played in New Zealand, the grounds and they were like kart tracks. So, Bangladesh had to work exceptionally hard to get the test status, and I think they did very, very well.
yeah, and nobody can say anything different than what you said. And it was a challenging task, and people administrators that time. I should mention Sabir Chaudhry, Sir Ashraful Haq. They really work hard to
Yeah,
make sure that Bangladesh is ready. And that time, AD was appointed, and AD was to make sure that team is ready. Uh, some of the infrastructure, of course, the administrators are doing, but the pipeline is ready. All right.
yeah,
So for the Test cricket, uh, it is not that you have to have only one team. You need to have a pipeline of various teams that you can uh, look through for the future. And he tried his best to do everything. So, and this is why I'm saying that he was very fond of coaches, and he wanted to make sure that coaches has the appropriate knowledge to make sure that they produce the appropriate players.
mm,
And thankful, of course this was, of course, the proudest moment in terms of talk through about the playing, that he traveled with Bangladesh team, that the team came to Bangladesh and you were there when he was very upset. Is there a place time when he was very upset?
Eddie really didn't get upset. He might have got a bit cross about things. I think one of the things that did frustrate him was that nobody ever turned up at meetings on time. And there was always some excuse, oh, traffic, Eddie, or something. And he always used to say, I can get here on time, then you can get here on time. And I remember I used to take the minutes for the meetings. And one day we came in and we waited and we waited and we waited and nobody came. And eventually a couple of people strolled in. And Eddie said to me, just write down the names of the people who aren't here. And I thought, oh, goodness. Anyway, I did. And of course, Manu was then the guy in charge. So I had to take the minutes into Manu for him to look. And he said to me, you cannot say that, Callie. And I said, I didn't say it. Eddie said it. I'm just writing what he said. But what will my board president say? And he went charging into Eddie and he said, you can't say this. And Eddie said, well, fine, don't be late then. So I think for the first few meetings after that, he wasn't.
Yeah,
It did actually
yeah,
work quite well. But he never really, he'd get frustrated, I think, sometimes, but he wasn't the sort of person to get really upset at all over anything. He just sort of, I remember if he lost a game, there wouldn't be a great denouement afterwards. He'd just say, okay, we lost today, we'll do better tomorrow.
yeah.
So I can't say that he was, personal things might upset him, but if it was a game, no, he'd be more likely to be more cross with himself than with anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. There are one of our coaches, Imtiaz Ahmed. He messaged that Eddie, who made us believe that Bangladesh deserved the test status. Of course, he was one of the driving force to make sure that we get the test status. Then ultimately we got it. You're talking about some of the cricket official that during that time, and unfortunately, of course, Manubai is passed away. And probably, did you met Opu?
No, but I knew Tanvir.
Yeah, yeah, Tanvi Bai, he's also passed away.
Yeah.
And Opu, he was a joint secretary as well at that
Mm.
time. I think just before he passed away. So, and everybody contributed their part to make sure that our cricket grows. And and this is where we are at the moment. Um,
Mm.
uh,
I
Talk
mean,
through about. Go on.
sorry,
No,
there's
no, go
such
on.
there's such an amount of talent in Bangladesh that sometimes you think, oh, it's really hard to pick. And I can remember an illustration that just showed it perfectly. When Mike Proctor first came to Bangladesh, I think he was coming for the Asia Cup, and Eddie took him over to BKSP to have a look at it. And as we were going through Uttara, I think, or somewhere like that, there were these kids and they'd set up all sorts of cricket facilities, you know, an old oil drum or a stick of wood, or I don't know what they got for a ball, but they were there playing. And Mike was going, Ed, stop, stop. Look at him. He's absolutely brilliant. Stop, stop. We must. And Eddie said, you'll see them on every corner, Mike. And he just couldn't believe it. The sheer joy and entertainment and everything was just so perfect. They just loved playing cricket. They even played in the garage underneath our apartment. It's
Yeah,
just, and it must have come about reasonably quickly, this cricket passion, because I remember when we first went to Bangladesh, the cricket ground was shared with the football ground because
yes.
until quite recently, football had been the preeminent sport. But obviously, in quite a short period of time, cricket had taken over. And I don't think it went down terribly well with the football authorities.
No, it didn't. It didn't. But it is since the we won the ICC champions in '97. You know that is overnight. It's cricket become number
Yeah,
one sports. All right,
yes,
and
yeah,
football was always dominating, and everybody loved football. But that was the moment when cricket became number one sports in Bangladesh, and it's since then it is how it's grown, and it's only people like you can that the way you explained that it was the administrators were not happy that time, the footballers, and yes, and then you see the cricket had to move from Bangabandhu Stadium to Shere Bangla Stadium in Mirpur,
mm, mm,
and the cricket didn't want it to move, but they thought that it was the right decision, and then it moved there, and there
yeah,
was a negative impact initially. There was not much crowd was going, etc., etc. But now it's home of cricket of Bangladesh, and they are doing well. Uh,
mm,
we will be talking more about everything. Just I'm talking to the viewers who are listening. So we are talking about Bangladesh cricket with Kelly Barlow, wife of Eddie Barlow. Eddie Barlow, former Bangladesh cricketer who passed away 2005. And Eddie has a vision of Bangladesh cricket to make sure there is a strong foundation, and he did his best, and he was a father figure for many coaches, for many players, and still they remember him from their heart. And I wanted to talk to Kelly always been with Eddie while he's Bangladesh since then. She's always supporting Bangladesh cricket wherever Bangladesh cricket travel. Kelly is there, particularly whenever Bangladesh cricket is in England. She goes there with the flag, with the Bangladesh flag, to support Bangladesh team. So we are so grateful that Kelly is doing that. So that Kelly is taking one step ahead of a lot of us to support Bangladesh team. So Kelly, talk through about your personal out of cricket. Just don't not about cricket. Anything personal that you can still think that for this I wanted to go back to Bangladesh.
oh my goodness, for the fabrics, the colors, the food, oh my goodness, I just adore the Bangladeshi food. And the one thing that came when I was thinking about it, what food do I really like in Bangladesh? I was once taken by Bobby to the Uttara Club, and he said, would we like some snacks? And I said, that sounds really nice. And he brought this, or the waiters brought this amazing peanut dish. and it had spices and tomato and lemon in it, and we were each given a spoon, and we had to eat it with this. It was heaven, absolute heaven. I really liked that. And then we were going south towards, what was that, Fatullah, going south towards Fatullah, and we had to stop and fill up with gas, and everybody had to get out of the car. And propped up on the side of the road was this bicycle with a huge, great bag of what looked like Rice Krispies in it. And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "Oh, it's a little snack that we eat." And I said, "Oh, well, I must have some." And they got me one, and it came in a cone. So I sat there and I ate that. Oh, so delicious. And I think one of the most amusing things was that I take every opportunity to eat with my fingers. And of course, when the Bangladeshis at home, they eat with their fingers. And out at BKSP, everybody eats with their fingers. And the physio was Gavin, and his girlfriend came to stay. And we all went out to BKSP, got our meal and sat down. And Ange was looking round the table like this. And I said to her, "What are you looking for?" And she said, "Well, where are the knives and forks?" And I said, "We don't eat with knives and forks here, Ange. We have our fingers." And she went, "Oh, I can't eat with my fingers." And I said, "Well, you'll starve then, won't you? Because we're all eating with our fingers." So she sat there for a few minutes, not quite sure what to do. And eventually Eddie took pity on her and went and got her a knife and fork, but it was funny.
Yeah, it's good. One of our coaches in Bangladesh, Imtiaz Ahmed, he asked a question. So, who offered Eddie to work in Bangladesh? Can you remember anybody from Bangladesh cricket who made the first proposal? How Eddie got to know about?
Yeah, it was Saba Chowdhury went to Cricket South Africa and said that they were looking for a coach,
Okay.
and did they know of anybody they thought might be suitable? And I think Eddie was the perfect person for that, because during the apartheid years in South Africa, he'd been totally anti-apartheid and hated anybody to look down on anybody else. And when we came to Bangladesh, he treated them, the players and everybody, exactly as if he was family, and he was part of their family. And I think that's what they really appreciated, that he was a friend, he was probably a father figure in a way, but he was family. And on the if we were going back from somewhere, everybody would pile onto the bus, and Eddie would pile on with them. And of course, after he had the stroke, I was there as well. And they sang this song, and all I can remember of was they said something like "Odi Salaka, Odi Malaka." Do you know that?
Yeah.
And I remember Mushfiq Babu singing it very, very lustily. So he was always part of everything. He wanted to join into the meals they had. He wanted to go on the bus. And I always remember somebody saying, and I won't mention any names, "Oh, we're not going on the bus with them. They'll only speak Bengali." And I thought, how ridiculous, because we always had such a good time. And it was really lovely.
That's brilliant. We will try and see if we can, while we are talking, we'll be just seeing those pictures, and probably
I've got my shirt on there.
that will bring some of the memories. We wanted to continue, because the channel is that I have just, as I said, that it was by accident I have just done it, and I thought uh, it will be good to have people to talk about spirit of cricket, and that cricket taught us, various things, and one of the things is to respect and share and care. And during this COVID outbreak, I think I could see there are best of sports personnel, particularly from cricket communities, they coming out and the helping the really needy people across Bangladesh. I could see India, I could see Sri Lanka, in England as well. There are
Mm,
senior cricketers who are contributing. They are selling their very famous cricket memorabilia, you can say, or their
yeah.
bat, their shirts, and
Mm.
um, and I think the spirit of cricket is now showing how we as a human being, we as an individual, can do things out of cricket arena.
I think cricket's always had a charitable side to it. They are quite quick to help over things like that. I mean, I know myself. I've got a diminishing store of Eddie's stuff that I quite like to give away for somebody's charity. Sometimes it's what I consider to be really nice stuff, or sometimes I remember giving somebody Transvaal, the old Gauteng, had a particularly horrid shade of yellow cricket kit. And I got quite a bit of that, so I thought, oh, that would be nice. Somebody could have that for their charity. And they thought it was lovely, so that was fine.
Yeah, yeah. What you are missing most out of Bangladesh cricket? Of course, the players, the environment, officials. What is the most thing that you miss out, Kelly?
Mm. So many, I suppose, really. The places that we went to and the things that happened there. I mean, I can remember going to the Chittagong Club for the first time and thinking, oh wow, what an amazing place. And of course, in colonial days, the faces would have been all white, and now they weren't. And it was absolutely great, really really nice. And then going to Mymensingh, which are you from Mymensingh, Ratan?
Yes, yes. I
Ah, I thought
grown
you
up in
were.
Mymensingh. Yeah. Talk about
Yeah.
Mymensingh. I love to hear.
And seeing that very first cricket club there,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
It was called
Um,
Punditpara Cricket Club. Yeah. It was a couple
yeah,
of hundred
that
years. Yeah.
yeah, that was lovely. And then of course there was, I suppose, the worst downside for Eddie and also for me was the Hartolls that used to go on. And we once went up to Sylhet, and we stayed in a very nice hotel up there. But while we were there, whichever party it was decided they would have a Hartle the following day. And we had to get back to Dhaka. And there was a great big conflab about, well, how on earth were we going to get Callie and Eddie back to Dhaka when with this Hartle on? So eventually it was decided that we would have a convoy. So we had a police car in front. Then there was a car filled with BNP people. Then there was a car filled with Awami League people. Then there was us. And then I think two police cars behind us. And as we drove out of Sylhet, there was this huge barrier across the road. And we all sat there shaking, thinking, oh my God, has our last hour come? Being very over dramatic. And the BNP guy and the Awami League guy got out, and they were yak, 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 yak at the barrier. The next minute, the barrier was moved, and off we went. I thought, oh gosh, that's really good. But not long after that, Eddie was driving out to BKSP on his own, and of course, some vehicles were allowed to travel. They were sort of let alone. But for these particular people, the message obviously hadn't got through because somebody fired at the car that Eddie was driving in. And I think that was a bit of a hairy moment for him. But
Um, Yeah, I'm just going back to one of the question that probably you would know Nazmul Abidin Fahim.
oh
Definitely you
yes,
know Fahim.
lovely for him.
Yeah, so you can see that he asked a questions. It has been a privilege knowing Eddie and you, Kelly, that is you.
Yeah.
Why you feel so strongly about Bangladesh?
Why do you feel strongly about anywhere? I suppose it's you get back what you give. if you try and be the best person you are, then people by and large are nice to you. And I found that friendship in Bangladesh everywhere, and everybody was just lovely. And I think that rubs off on you. And my ethos in life has always been wherever I go, and I've been very fortunate because my father was in the RAF, so I've lived in a lot of places during my life, and I always try and look on the bright side and the best side of things. There's no point in looking on the bad side. Look on the bright side. You'll have a much better time, and people will treat you much more kindly.
Yeah. And also probably, another person who just messaged, Miru.
Mirror, yes.
Yes, so he's watching, and so I think there are a lot of people are watching and listening about the story. Not only you're talking about your story about Bangladesh cricket. So I'm just following up from the question that Nazmul Abidin Fahim asked you regarding about yourself, why you feel strong. Why can you tell about AD? Why and how AD got this right very early of his appointment in Bangladesh? So these are the things need to be done, and why he felt so strongly. Can you? Is there any insight you can give?
That's actually quite a difficult question to answer, Rashan, because, as much as I knew Eddie, you can't get inside somebody else's mind. I think he always had a vision. He could always look at something very critically and work out what needed to be done. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He just had that ability to sum up a situation. He didn't stay in Dhaka. He went round. He had a look. He talked to people, and he just realised what needed to be done in order for Bangladesh to go forward in their cricket journey.
Yeah. There was Imtiaz. He is also following this, and he referred to Bob Woolmer, and he spoke to Bangladesh journalist about whenever he wanted to know something, get idea, he used to talk to Eddie. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
I think a lot of people used to talk to Eddie because he did speak sense, and he never wrapped anything up. It was, if you asked him a question, you got the answer. You may not have liked it, but you got it.
yeah, definitely. And you see, it's sharing the knowledge is one of the things that I have learned. Um, uh, Not only myself, I think a lot of people know that, and I always sometimes even people wanted to learn something even very very basic, and sometime to discuss, to explain that one in a simplistic way is a best way, because sometimes people while explaining make things complicated, I
Well,
think.
I think that's gone on in the game of cricket ever since Adam was a lad. I mean, they have an acronym, KISS, keep it simple, stupid,
Yeah,
and that pertains today as much as it ever did in the past. And when I hear people talk about, oh, it's the modern game, well, as far as I can see, the only difference, apart from a couple of tweaking of the rules and things, is that now cricket is more of a business than a sport. And I find that really sad. But the game, the people really hasn't changed very much at all. It's just that there's come so much money into it that it's made it a different game.
yeah,
Saba.
yeah, definitely. And that when I approached you for this program, that you said, oh no, I can talk about 1 hour. Do you know how long we've been talking?
No.
It's about an hour almost.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness. I've
and
got
you
a
see
big
that
mouth.
you see the time flies. You see the time flies, and I had so many other things to discuss, and we couldn't talk. And I hope um, I learned. lot of things about Eddie. I learned a lot of things about you, and I think there are people who are watching. They've been listening, and they learn uh, more about yourself and about Eddie. Um, and
Well, if
if
I, Ratan, if I could just say one thing that
go on.
really, really did mean a lot to Eddie and me was when Eddie worked with Deepu Chowdhury, because I think Deepu was the guy that really hung on to Eddie's every word, and Eddie hoped that he would be a really good coach, and I think that actually has transpired. But he and Putul, his wife, they were so welcoming to us, and I always remember when I first saw Deepu, and I just looked at him and I thought, you look just like Desperate Dan out of the cartoon. That he's changed a bit since then, and it's wrong to single out one person, because there were so many. There was Bobby, and who we referred to as Biman Babu, because there were about 3 Babus, but they all helped to make our lives so wonderful in Bangladesh. It was just amazing.
Yeah, brilliant, Eddie. Kelly, thank you very much for your time today, and I hope that we will bring you back again and talk more about your stories. And I think it is inspiring for a lot of people and a lot of cricket fan in Bangladesh. That person like you are living in England and you are still following very closely with Bangladesh cricket, and you talk about them various time, and it is a privilege for me to know you, and still we are in touch, and hopefully we will meet up soon again. So if you wanted to say your um, finishing words for our viewers.
Well, I'd just like to say onwards and upwards for Bangladesh. And I can't wait for this COVID-19 to finish so that we can all start watching this wonderful game of cricket again. And thank you very much for asking me.
Thank you very much, Kelly, and
Thank you.
we will be in touch. Stay safe, and we'll meet up soon again. Thank you very much, viewers. We were
Thank you.
talking to Kelly Barlow, the wife of Bangladesh national cricket team coach Eddie Barlow's, and we discussed about her memories and her memories about Eddie, what Eddie was to think in Bangladesh, and it was great to know Eddie personally. He was a great coach. He was a great mentor, and he started a foundation. And there are a lot of coaches like myself and many others learned so much from him. Um, we will be discussing tomorrow about COVID-19 plus England and Wales Cricket Board's guideline um, about training, about the matches, though the matches are still suspended, the safeguarding, what as a player, what you need to do as a coach, what you need to do as a club, what you can do. So we'll be talking with SS Cricket Board. So our guest will be head of cricket operations, Dan Feast, a safeguarding officer, Phil Nappet, and East London Cricket Coordinator Arfan Akram. So that we will be talking, and please join us. And if you have any question, you can share with us, and you can get some sort of clarification. And we hope to get back to cricket as soon as possible. But we need to make sure that we safeguard ourselves, we safeguard the players, and we make sure that we follow the guideline and play the sports. And we hope that again it will be back soon. So again, I would like to thank you everyone for joining us, and we will be seeing you soon tomorrow. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.